Hello. Hello, hello, howdy. Uh, After the incredible output that was Balloon Fight, we're now met with the other game besides Gumshoe that came out that month, Urban Champion. And if you want to talk about excellent games, this ain't one of them. So check this out. We get game type A here, which is versus the computer. We get either this or game type B, which is versus a person. And as far as I'm concerned, I think this is just about it. You get a oh, there we go. It's a very rudimentary fighting game, effectively. I'm not really sure what the controls are. I'm trying to figure that out on my own here. Uh-oh. Okay. The cops have shown up, so we gotta pretend that we aren't fighting, because, you know, two dudes in the middle of a fight are definitely likely to stop just because the cops are rolling by, you know. They aren't savages here or anything. Ah, that ain't good. It looks like we both have 3 points. Is that how I'm reading that correctly? Admittedly, I know very little about this game other than it has been completely forgotten by time, and for pretty good reason. There's very little to get from this game in a modern context. I don't even know if you can block in this game, to be honest. Oh no! He pushed me back. Okay, so yeah, we have 2 lives left. The computer has 3 now. As you can see from the main menu, there is no difficulty selection, nothing like that. It's just you pick game A and then you're in it. That was an easy win for us. I don't know how I'm gonna squeeze an hour of gameplay out of this title. Because this is kind of legendarily low right now. Come on, get him with the flower pot. Alright, we couldn't quite pull it off. But hey, they've got 1, we've got 2. In the second round, so we just gotta kick them down that manhole now, you know? Dodge the potted plant, preferably. Oh. And, you know, don't get suckered out of around here. Oh, no, we got pushback, so, yeah, there's no guarantees. Now we got manholes on both sides. The stakes are high. Oh, no, and we're not at an advantage. Oh, especially not if that's gonna happen. Alright, we botched it. We didn't win on our very, very first attempt ever. What a shame. Top round 3. Well, we go again, because it's our only option. And I can't stress enough. These controls are very rigid. Like, you gotta, you can kind of see what I'm trying to do on the control pad viewer there, you know, I'm kind of moving the D-pad up in hopes that that'll switch to a higher punch, and then you gotta move the D-pad down to do a lower one, and it's really awkward, it's not at all in the realm of polished. Although, we seem to be getting the idea now. Now that I've internalized the controls a little bit better. Oh, a sucker punch like that. Oh no, that's gonna do us bad. As far as I can tell, B and A do the exact same thing. They both punch. So we kind of started from a little bit behind. We definitely should have walked up to him, taken the fight to him. Look at that! That's what happens in a true battle. They both get knocked down. I'm detecting a little bit of rubber banding AI here, but I have no proof. I think you just kind of got to get them into a point where you can combo them and then kind of stun lock them like this. Once you can do that, I think you're good. Ah, the cops! Ruining everything. And the timer keeps going when the cops show up too, so they are really not your best friend in this game. Again, why are we concerned about the police? You know, we're already having a brutal street fight. And We avoided... Oh, come on. The cops seem to exist for no other purpose than to just break up the action a little bit. Not to say that you're getting very high caliber action anyway in the first place. You know, it's a very, very simple game. Why this, of all things, was a thing, I don't know if I'll ever know. Like, this is a Nintendo-made product here, published and developed by them. I saw the copyright was for a year prior to the NES existing, so I can only assume this was an arcade game of sorts before the NES. Okay, we got him, though. We did beat him. It's round 3. I'm not quite sure what dictates a full round in this game. Oh, and you do not get any screens for yourself back here. If you go down to 2, you're stuck with 2, it looks like. But we do get a nice little cute boxing glove there. Again, we kind of fooled ourselves there, you know. It's alright, just lay into him. Until he does that. You can notice I'm just kind of tapping and mashing here. The good old tap and mash. It can't do you wrong until it does. And again, I don't know if I can block. I don't know if there's any way to make that happen. I feel like I just kind of threw that though. I ran backwards seeing if there was kind of like a hold back to block thing, you know, like in a modern fighter. But you know, this is so loosely related to the fighting genre that I don't even know what you'd count this as. All I know is there's a reason it goes constantly forgotten, because it's not very good. I mean, I know I've only been playing it for a whole 7 minutes at this point now, but I mean, let's be real. What else are we gonna see? Not a whole lot, I'm not thinking. Can't even kick. I mean, you can at least, you know... Okay, wait, I think that B... Yeah, B does a charged shot, so it is different from A. A is just a regular shot. Ah. We got played by the plant there, though. Top round 6. Look at that dodges on this guy. So yeah, B sends them back further, but you gotta charge it up. So there is a difference between A and B. It's just, you know, a very minute difference. And I think you're better off just kind of spamming B as it is. A seems to not quite have enough spice on it. Yeah, you get in the rhythm with the charged up shots, you're unstoppable. Of course, I can only assume that, you know, the difficulty does at some point rubber band enough to make that no longer a valid tactic. We'll see. Either way, we got a full, fresh 3 stock for this fight. This guy appears to be falling for the exact same plight. Easy enough. Oh, that bastard. He got the up, the down, the up again. Perfect blocking game from him. We just gotta keep ahead of the curve, you know? We just gotta stay ahead of him. Oh! Again, the multi-shot. Both of us getting it. The halo kill, as it were. And look at that. Final round of this clown. Which does mean round 6. Okay, so it is every time you knock him down, it changes rounds. Probably should have gathered that. Easy life. Alright, we figured out the game. It took us all of 10 minutes to figure it out. It's really kind of bad. You know, and I know, again, you know, I've only just barely been playing a little bit of it, but I'm really doubting that it's going to improve. I mean, you're seeing what's going on, you know. I'm holding right and then pressing B at a rhythmic interval. That's all it takes to beat Urban Champion. Maybe like a tiny bit of luck to get the jump on your opponent. Oh yeah, because sometimes they actually change up their blocking pattern, and then you gotta, you know, switch to the good hook. I don't know if that's a hook or not. I know, admittedly, very little about combat sports. Urban Champion, the ultimate combat sports video game. The funny part is, even being an early NES title, you can't even say that that's true, because Kung Fu is so much better, and counts as a combat sport. So, look at this. Even the one niche that it could have filled early on, it was already not even the best example. This guy, he's putting a little bit more effort into it. I lied, he's still bad. You know, yeah, that's all you gotta do. You just gotta, like, memorize the rhythm that you need to throw your punches at, and the game becomes a joke. Although the game may have been a joke from the very get-go. But, you know, I hate shit-talking a video game. I always do, but, as much love as I have for all of them, they're not created equal. This one is not even in the same, like, level of the atmosphere as Balloon Fight. It never will be. Not as long as it's this for the entire game, which I think it is gonna be. So let's talk video games that aren't this then. Been hearing a lot of people talk about Ghosts of Tsushima. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm pretty excited to pick that one up myself. I've had some friends who have been just giving it absolutely rave reviews, and I normally don't spend full price on a video game right when they come out, but this one, it's been breaking enough doors down to where I'm thinking it's probably worth me picking up sooner rather than later. Absolutely gorgeous. If you've seen any of the screenshots for it, it's out of this world beautiful. It's definitely going to be one of those games where people are going to look back on it and they'll say, wow, that PS4 game looked better than the early PS5 games did. Obviously, we don't have the PS5 out yet to compare it to, so that's purely just an assessment, but I don't think I'm wrong in that assessment. Like, it looks genuinely amazing. It'll be the kind of game like God of War 2 was for the PS2. God of War 2 came out, and it made most PS3 launch titles look bad. With the exception of course, you know, God of War 2 was standard definition, PS3 was high definition, but you get where I'm going. So it's always nice to see those kind of end of a console's life cycle games that just really blow the door off the hinge. If you're not aware of what it is at all, it is a grounded in reality samurai game taking place in a very finely crafted homage to Japanese culture. Japanese critics have been saying that it is like the most true-to-life piece of Eastern culture that the West has produced. So hey, if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me, you know? Okay, there we go. We had to switch our punch type there. He got the better of us. That's what I'm saying, you know, the only real danger that you've got in this game is if they switch up their punch on you and you can't get yours switched up in time to counter it. Because again, the controls are awkward. You know, you gotta push up or down to change your punch type, and it really makes no. Really leads to a bad time. Okay, got that though. I actually have to focus a little bit for this round. But yeah, it's a samurai game. You can choose between either playing it more like a ninja or playing it more like a samurai, you know, do the whole stealth thing or go in swords a-blazing. And from what I hear, both gameplay styles work exceptionally well. Like, neither of them are underbaked, which is always wonderful. It is an open world game because, you know, games pretty much have to be open world games nowadays if people are gonna pay attention to them. That's a little bit cynical of me. That's not fully true, but it is certainly a sign of the times. This game's easy. Oh look, our boxing gloves have turned into a flag. That's how we know that we're progressing in this game with a very deep progression system. Oh no! Okay, we might meet our match here though. You do eventually have to start using your brain the tiniest little bit. And I mean the tiniest bit. Even when the game does start changing it up on you, it does not demand a whole lot from you in the brain area. So yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. That's been on my radar. Although I'm still in the process of beating Code Vein and I still haven't started Death Stranding, so you know, I don't know what I'm rushing about. The new games are always shiny and pretty, and I always want them. But then I've always got more games in the backlog. Like I just whipped up a spreadsheet the other day of all the games I own and like whether or not I've beaten them or not, and boy, a staggering amount of them have gone unbeaten. I've been getting better about beating games, but you know, it ain't perfect yet. I'm not quite there. Okay, so now we're gonna get a flag and a boxing glove? Or just... Oh, no, 2 flags. Okay. I thought that a flag would have signified, like, 5 consecutive victories or something like that. See, I think it's a little bit bullshit that once you get knocked down to 1, you're stuck there. You don't get any kind of refresh. What is this? I mean, the game would be even easier if that were the case. Well, look at that. Made it to round 22. If you asked me if the game would be more fun with 2 players, I sincerely doubt it. There is nothing to this game. Like, this is the content. Nothing else happens. If you got this game for Christmas one year, ugh. I feel bad for you, son. I'm really not sure like what Nintendo is even going for with it. Because it's not really filling any kind of necessary niche at this point. Fighting games weren't even a big deal at this point. Like, if they existed at all. I mean, Street Fighter 2 wouldn't come along for a long, long time, and that was the game that made fighters relevant. Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, you know, they were both probably equally important. Wow, look at that. Switch your punch type, come on. Very simple stuff. And obviously I've been waiting for Cyberpunk 2077 with bated breath, but it keeps getting pushed back. At this point, it's fine. Assuming that it does get a direct PS5 release, which I would imagine it would, I'll probably just get that version since it's coming out so close to the PS5's release window anyway. Some of my friends were like, "Why don't you get the PC version?" I was like, "I might, but you know, I've been really enjoying the simple pleasures of the couch lately. It's been feeling good. Just relaxing on the couch with a controller in my hands. Now, don't get me wrong, for first-person shooters, nothing beats a mouse and keyboard. Why the police? Why the police? Nothing beats a mouse and keyboard, but you know, they're playable with a controller, and they get more playable if you get some practice in with them. Like, I'm pretty bad at shooters with a controller, but that's because I didn't like grow up playing them with a controller, you know? Oh, come on. The police car mechanic is both annoying and useless. Like, the only thing it does is wind down the time without you having done anything to warrant having the time ran down. Boy, I wasn't having nearly this rough a time with this guy the last run. Okay, thank you. Okay, we got him. We got him there. We got very little time left thanks to our cop. Oh, no, no. Okay, okay. The time, I don't know if it completely reset, but we got quite a bit of time left. That's kind of throwing me off with this game is, you know, it takes a little bit for the HUD to fully update. Stamina so far has not been an issue at all. It's been our lives more than anything else. Like, stamina may as well not exist. There you go. What else am I looking forward to about the next generation? Well, I don't believe Microsoft has had their big release conference yet. So, speaking strictly in terms of the PS5, very much looking forward to Spider-Man Miles Morales. Marvel's Spider-Man was easily the best Spider-Man game put out, and you know, it took years for a game to dethrone Spider-Man 2. It took literal console generations for that to happen, but it finally did, and it was worth the wait. So if Miles Morales just turns out to be more of the same, that's a win in my book. Marvel's Spider-Man wasn't a long enough game to where I got bored with it. It wasn't long enough to where having more of it would seem like a negative thing. I don't think that if Miles Morales copies a lot of what made Marvel's Spider-Man great, it's not going to feel like a complacency. It's going to feel like an encore. And that's a very enviable position to be in from a game developer standpoint. That's not to say that you can just phone it in and expect everyone to be happy, but, you know. Like, if they wind up using the exact same map, I would probably be mildly annoyed, because nothing rubs me the wrong way more than a game, especially an open world game, that just completely reuses a map from an earlier entry. I don't see that very often. One of the few examples I can think of was Saints Row 4. Just reuse the Saints Row the 3rd map, which was about the lowest effort thing that they could have done. Reused all the vehicle assets, reused all the clothing assets. It was the laziest sequel I think I've ever seen. Which, I mean, some people may argue, oh, well, what do you expect? It's Saints Row. It's not exactly, you know, the highest budget thing ever. It's like, but come on. 1, 2, and 3 were different enough from each other. And then as if that wasn't enough, then we got a 3rd game using the same map with Gat Out of Hell. At least I'm pretty sure it used the same map. I don't even know if I played Gat Out of Hell, but I know they at the very least had the decency to not charge full price for it. And I never did hear about Agents of Mayhem. That game just kind of came and went. Probably a reason for that. This dude. Thank you. This dude! He's got me tripping. Oh, no, no, no. I fell back before the plant could come into effect. Not like, you know, even winning in this game feels like it means anything. If you win a round, it just means congratulations, you've won a round. I mean, obviously, from, you know, a purely English standpoint, that is what that sentence would mean, yes. But man, there's no sense of progression at all. I mean, at least in Donkey Kong, you have a few different maps. I guess you could argue that these little backgrounds, the snack bar and stuff, oh, well, those are different. See, they're called different things. They look a little bit different. Yeah, but what kind of effect do they have on the gameplay? None. The snack bar in the bookstore, they got the same amount of windows. You know, you got the same potted plant plays coming in hot no matter where you are. Don't even start with me, man. See if we can, you know, instigate a cop car driving by. We're out of rhythm. That's the problem here. I probably should have I should have gotten in a quick one at that point. I think that's when you really got to start considering using your A button instead of immediately your B button, is when they've got you in kind of a lockup. You need a quick little jab in there to keep them honest. Oh, I don't like this, the double manhole situation. Oh, we got him. We got him on the ropes. It's good. I shouldn't get too excited, you know. We had that 22 round run. Really something about that sentence that makes you want to say round one. Probably because round one is something that you hear so often in fighting games. Like, I've played Street Fighter 1. Street Fighter 1 is not an impressive game, but Street Fighter 1 is better than this. But, as I always say, I'm still glad to be playing it. I'm still glad to be subjected to it. I don't gotta love everything that I play, but I certainly love being aware of everything that I play. You know, if I can be made aware of a game that I wasn't aware of the other day, all the better. I am aware of this. I am an avid watcher of Jeremy Parrish, who is documenting every, well, I say this because he's doing it very, very slowly. It's a once-a-week video kind of deal, but he's doing kind of documentary-style videos on every NES game and every Game Boy game. I think he's also started the N64 and the SNES. He'll never finish it. There's literally not enough time for him to finish it at this pace, but they're really, really well-made videos, so search up Jeremy Parrish on YouTube. He's got excellent stuff. He covered Urban Champion a long time ago. So, I don't know. Maybe I got a tiny bit of inspiration to do this series from watching him, because, you know, I thought, like, hey, looking at all of these games in chronological order is neat, and then I realized, but he's never gonna make it through. Which, I mean, I'm not trying to replace him. I want to make that very, very clear right now. What he's doing is far more effort than what I'm doing. I'm just sitting here and playing it and giving you my thoughts on it in a bubble. You know, I play it for an hour, I tell you what my first impression is. Although, for a game like this is going to be my first and my last impression. I can pretty much guarantee that. I mean, look at what we got on the screen. I feel like I've been watching the same loop of gameplay like 7 times now. Like, I could probably edit this video to start at the menu screen and then like copy and paste like one run, and I doubt anyone would notice. As long as I like kept my webcam on and kept talking, I could probably pull that off. But no, that's scummy. That's cheating you out of a pure hour of Urban Champion. Or maybe saving you from a pure hour of Urban Champion. I'm not sure which way to put that. Okay, punching a little bit early here, getting ahead of myself on the rhythm. I love that backwards tumble they do when you punch them out of frame. What else have I been playing? You know, I beat all 3 Kingdoms Musou mode in Dynasty Warriors 2. Now, there are 2 avenues of thinking with Dynasty Warriors games. There's the avenue that says, if you've beaten all of the different Kingdoms campaigns, then you've beaten the game. But there's the other, more hardcore dynamic that says, once you've unlocked everybody and beaten Musou mode with everybody, then you've beaten the game. And there's something to that, you know, all the characters in Dynasty Warriors 2 do play a little bit differently. They got different move sets, different attack levels and all of that, but the problem is, playing the same maps that many times can get old. I mean, I enjoy Dynasty Warriors, but the biggest issue is, especially in Dynasty Warriors 2, the first 2 levels are the same every single time you play it. The same 2 levels. Yeah, you have a different starting position depending on the character that you've chosen, but you're gonna get used to those first 2 levels more than you ever wanted to. And then the next 3 levels are a little bit shuffled around, it depending on the kingdom that you're defending, but overall, you know, for now, I think I'm satisfied with just having gone through the 3 Musou modes once for the, well, the 1 Musou mode 3 times for the 3 different kingdoms. Because, you know, they're not particular. I mean, they are short. There's like 5 maps in a Musou run. They're like 20 to 30 minute long battles. It's not that long, but considering there's like 20-something characters in the game, you're playing those maps many, many times. It eventually wears on the soul, especially since, you know, Dynasty Warriors 2 being the first proper Dynasty Warriors game, it's a lot of repetition, and I don't mind that repetition, but you gotta kind of mitigate that repetition, if that makes sense. You know, like, once I can pick up a used copy of Dynasty Warriors 3 somewhere, hey, I'll be happy to play some more of it. It'll have new maps, some mildly new features, it'll be exciting again, but I have too many other games that I have to get to playing to spend that much time in Dynasty Warriors 2 when I've more or less experienced what the game has to offer. Yes, I haven't played as every character, I haven't unlocked every single character, so I haven't seen everything, but I've seen the majority of the game, and typically that's how I like to play games. Like, see the bulk of what the content is, and then usually call it good. If I'm really into a game, then I'll like 100% it. But it really depends on what getting 100% entails. Like, take Assassin's Creed for instance. With Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, I bought all the properties, I synchronized every viewpoint, I of course beat the base game, built up my assassin network to its highest level, and then that was it. I didn't get every optional mission objective, I didn't get every flag, all that. I did what I thought was fun, and I did the majority of what I thought was fun. If there's something that is extra in a game that I just really don't think is fun to do, then I won't force myself to do it all. Of course, if the base game itself isn't fun, I will at least still force myself through to the end credits. An example of that being Hulk for the PS2. I, for some reason, went through and played Hulk for the PS2, and it's not a very good game. You know, it's very much a 3D beat 'em up, and it doesn't really do anything beyond that. It's got some weird Bruce Banner stealth sections that really didn't have to exist. But otherwise, you know, it's not amazing. And when I beat the game, I had unlocked some challenge modes in the challenge mode menu, and I could have gone through and done them, but at that point, you know, it wasn't a long game. It took me like maybe 4 or 5 hours to beat the whole thing. But even just in those 4 or 5 hours, I was like, there's nothing to this. It's not that fun. So, you know, I beat the base game, and then I was done with it there. And in the end, you know, beat your games, get your money's worth out of them, but if there's more that you can do in it and you don't want to do it, don't feel obligated to. That's what I say. Although I guess someone did just give me that copy of Hulk, so you could argue that I got infinite value from that game. Getting any gameplay at all while spending $0 is, you know, automatic value. Oh, this guy's cruising for a bruising at this point. There we go, yeah, start blocking up like a big dummy. Like this game, Urban Champion. I'm sure that there's like a round limit that you could try to make it to. But after this hour of it, I'm not sure I'll ever even play the game again, you know? Like, making it to round 20. I mean, heck, I was convinced by round 3 that there was nothing else to the game, and I wound up being pretty much correct, unless there's some huge twist at round 50. But I sincerely doubt that. Look at this, we're still on 3 lives, too. We're killing it. We are the Urban Champion. Except, okay, now things are getting a little saucy with this guy here. It's alright, you know, you just gotta make sure that you switch your punch type if one of them ain't working. Probably for the best. I mean, yeah, he didn't get hit by the plant, but neither did I, so, you know. Yeah. I'm usually more likely to complete a game like 100% if the requirements for 100% are pretty well laid out in front of me, or it's got stuff like, oh, here's a map of everything that you're missing, then I'm more likely to seek it out, because, I mean, in the event of something like Assassin's Creed flags, they're hidden all over in such a manner to where it'll take you forever to find them all without a guide. And if you are using a guide, then, you know, you're stuck in that kind of like limbo world where you're looking back and forth between your phone just to try to find every little spot where these flags are. And then, you know, at that point, it feels like you're kind of missing out on gameplay at that point, because they're switching between the screen and your phone so much. It almost gets more stressful at that point. And there are some games that, if there's something at the end that I really do like want to see, then yeah, sure, I'll consider looking up a guide and grabbing all of it. Oh, look at that juke he just made. But generally speaking, you know, I'll just play a game through, I'll play it to the best of my ability, I'll see what all I can find in it, and then I'll be done. There are some exceptions, like the more esoteric games out there where everything seems to be kind of like deliberately hidden from you. Like, I recently played A Link to the Past. I had intended to play it guideless, and I got through a small portion of the game without using a guide, and it wasn't that bad, and I thought, oh, well, this is pretty playable. Until I finally hit the first brick wall, and then I looked up a guide, and I realized just how much I was actually missing. And not insignificant things either. We're talking like sword upgrades, inventory upgrades, all kinds of stuff, and I was like, maybe I should use a guide on this one. Swallow your pride. Alright, we just gotta beat round 22, and then we'll have a new top for ourselves here. Oh, shoot. That's distressing. Alright, that's alright. Oh, this guy. He switches it up a lot, man. Oh, like I tried switching it up there just to be cute, but look at that. His quick blocks. Round 22, you know, this is like, welcome to the final boss of Urban Champion. Even though it's round 22, and that seems like a very, very strange round to have your final boss on. But boy, he feels like it. This is where the stamina might even come into play, you know, if I can't pull something out against this guy. We gotta at least get him to his side of the map. Alright, there we go. I'm surprised no cop car is coming to ruin the day yet. We might just time out too. That would be, there we go. We're fine. We're good. We got him. Do we get stamina back as well as time? Yes, we do. Look at that. Well, round 23. We didn't get here before, so, you know. Now you guys get to see what round 23 looks like. Really exciting, huh? Not quite as interesting as, you know, round 17, but, you know, like, I get it. They had to cut costs at some point. You don't develop a game this ambitious without cutting a few corners every now and then. I've made it over the halfway point, though. You know. I have a lot of friends who would not have the patience to play this game for longer than 5 minutes. Ah, no, no. Alright, back into the double manhole situation. The most deadly place to be in Urban Champion. I mean, I guess a single manhole on your side would be more deadly. We got him, though. Going up to round 25. Today, a taste of my tasty beverage. You know, they could at least give you like some different sprites to fight, and at least put you under the illusion that you're fighting someone interesting. Alright, my dude just didn't move there. I got the potted plant started falling and he refused to move forward. I know you can all verify that. You can see that I was holding right. Thank God for the controller tracker to, you know, validate my complaints. But yeah. I know I said earlier, beat your games like you get your money's worth, but even if you don't beat your games, you know, again, that's entirely up to you. I know I drive myself nuts when my backlog gets too huge, which is why I'm in a perpetual state of, nuts. A state of nuts. But if you're the kind of guy who just prefers to, you know, play a little bit of a game, and then if you're not enjoying it, you drop it, go for it. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Video games should be enjoyed the way you want to enjoy them. As long as it's not ruining everybody else's experience. Very careful caveat there to that rule. Likewise, if somebody enjoys a video game that you don't enjoy, that's okay. I've had my issues in the past with being overtly aggressive against things that I myself don't personally enjoy, and you know, I eventually just came to the conclusion where nobody enjoys hearing that. You're not impressing anybody. You don't look like you have better taste. You just look like you're a jerk. And that I was way worse about that with music than anything else. I thought my taste in music was so much better, which back when I was a jerk about it, it really wasn't. I had pretty basic ass tastes. It just happened to be different basic tastes. And then I finally just drew the conclusion where I was like, there's no reason to act like this. Nobody prefers this. It doesn't make anybody feel better. And once I made that change, you know, I just felt like I was a generally more positive person to be around. Like, I was like, okay. I'm not gonna say that I'm completely without my problems now, but that was a major one that we fixed. Oh, come on. Okay. Getting ourselves out of a jam here. We really got to fight back for this one. Oh, no! We did make it to round 30, though, so that's definitely a new top. And I don't even think we have enough time in the episode to beat that. Look at that. Top round 30. Unfortunately, I gotta go again. Because the channel name mandates it. However, 60 seconds to lose doesn't really count here, because, I mean, we've been winning at this game pretty well, I think. You know, I don't know what you would consider the win condition for Urban Champion, but if you want to say 30 rounds of Urban Champion is winning, then I'd say go for it. It means I've beaten Urban Champion. Would have loved to have done it on the original hardware, but I'm not going out of my way for a cartridge of Urban Champion at this point in my life, you know? Maybe there'll be a point where I'm making more money than I am right now, and I can buy games for the memes. But right now, you know, every dollar is precious. It's got to go towards something that you really want in there. I say this, but I have so much filler on my shelf. You can't see it. I'm pointing at it, but you can't see it. Can't even see my arm, really. It's all phasing out. I have so much Goodwill filler on my shelf. We're talking Madden 02 all the way to Madden 08 for the PS2. Yeah, boy. Various sports games that I found on the Goodwill shelf. Some of those cheaper PS2 games, like, you know, Medal of Honor Frontline. It's not a bad game. It's just worthless. I mean, monetarily so. If you're the kind of clown who finds a copy of Medal of Honor Frontline and you think that you've got something really rare, well, get your head back into reality, son. Same thing with, I've got Rainbow Six 3 for the Xbox, which is, you know, severely gimped compared to the PC version, but I got it anyway. Yeah, I have a bunch of cheap shit on there. But I try to get better stuff as I keep going, you know. it's just one of those little pleasures in life, you know, is just building up the collection. And that's maybe another reason why I've pivoted a little bit to console gaming. I haven't completely forsaken my PC. I mean, here I am playing on my computer right now, but I just love the collection aspect of it. I love adding something to the shelf. I love the aesthetics of game cases. Although I'm a little annoyed because when I ordered Death Stranding, I got the European version. I don't know if I mentioned that on this channel or not, but which fortunately the PS4 is region free, so I'll be able to play it just fine. But you know, it just looks a little off. You know, like I think the spine is a little more simplified than the North American release's spine. It's got the PEGI 18 logo on it instead of the M logo. But you know, it's a very small thing to be upset about. It's not worth being upset about either. The only other import game I have is, of course, Dead or Alive Extreme 3, and I shouldn't admit that I own that game out loud, but here I am. That is, of course, a Japanese import, as it was never put out in the West. The Japanese developers decided that, hey, releasing a game purely about girls in bikinis playing volleyball and wearing increasingly more scant bikinis probably isn't going to go over in the West right now with how prudish everyone is at the moment. So they decided, nah, forget it, we're not even going to release it there. But they were swell enough to add an English option to the option, so if you get your Japanese import, you're good to go. Although, I'll have to look this up. I know it got an update, Dead or Alive 3 Scarlet, I think, and that version came out for the Switch, and I think the Switch version of that may have actually come out in the West. I am not for certain, though. Either way, you know, it's kind of goofy having a Japanese import of such a meme game on my shelf. The kind of game that you don't ever want to actually put in your PS4 and play because you don't want someone to see that you're playing Dead or Alive Extreme 3. It's a novelty, you know. It was an expensive novelty, but it's a novelty. I say expensive, but, you know, it was like the cost of any other new game. It wasn't new when I bought it, but, you know, those imports, they aren't necessarily always cheap. Unless you're talking like Sega Saturn imports, then yes, those are pretty much always historically cheaper than North American Saturn games. Because guess what? North America didn't care at all about the Sega Saturn. Probably for good reason. Which does kind of suck though, because, you know, it means that some of those better games that did come out in North America, Panzer Dragoon, Saga, heck, even just normal Panzer Dragoon, they are expensive as hell nowadays. And then there were a lot of just genuinely amazing Saturn games that never did come over here. Lots of shoot-'em-up games. That's the bulk of it, really. You like shmups, get yourself a Japanese-ready Saturn. Doesn't have to be a strictly Japanese console, even just, you know, having that action replay cartridge that enables Japanese play will get you there. I don't yet have a Saturn. It's one of the few consoles that I haven't picked up yet. Saturn, Master System. I'd like to get a TurboGrafx 16. I wouldn't mind a 3DO either, actually. The 3DO, you know, it's an underlooked system, but it wasn't a bad system. It has the best version of Wolfenstein 3D on it. Even better than the PC version, I think. Which, I've only played it emulated, but it just had more. I think it had more levels. It had a unique weapon that the PC version never had in the flamethrower. So, like, as weird as it sounds, Wolfenstein 3D, a game I've played like twice, is my biggest reason for wanting a 3DO. And the 3DO actually had a few other first-person shooters of the same style. Those, like, super easy, not quite build engines, even older than that kind of games. Very Wolfenstein 3DS games. But it had a lot of kind of exclusive first-person shooters like that on it, too. So really, the 3DO is a remarkably fun console to kind of dip your toes into. People don't talk about it a whole lot, and that's why it kind of goes unnoticed by a lot of people. Unnoticed or forgotten. The TurboGrafx 16 is like that too. It was way more powerful than the NES at the time, but it didn't have nearly the market share. Heck, even the Sega Master System, I want to say, was more powerful than the NES. You compare the NES version of Rampage to the Sega Master System version of Rampage, not even comparable. The Sega Master System version is so much better. Looks better, it's a little more fluid. And I know, you know, Rampage gets some flack for being a repetitive game, and it is a repetitive game, but hey, you're talking to a dude who likes Dynasty Warriors. You really think that a little bit of repetition in a video game is gonna bother me? As long as it's a satisfying kind of repetition, you know, sign me up. Now, frustrating repetition, or unfun repetition, such as this, is a little bit of a different story. But, you know, I'm hanging in there. Oh, come on. Been a while since we've seen the cherries. See if we can get them down before the second one. Good. Don't have to deal with the second cop car driving by. I'm pretty sure that those are on specific points in the timer, but again, if the timer's gonna keep running while the cop cars drive by, then why even bother including the cop cars? You could just make the timer shorter. Back up to round 21. For whatever that's worth. I wonder what they sell in that bookstore. Probably books. Probably copies of latest Nintendo Power magazine. Your only way to get through some of those more arcane games of the time. Stuck in The Legend of Zelda? Boy, you better hope that the latest copy of Nintendo Power has got a guide for that sucker. Either that or hope that your friend found that that next dungeon that's hiding under a specific bush. I hate the cop car. I really do. Hey, that's topical. No one likes cop cars right now. Controversial subject alert. Whoa. No. You want a game that tackles the intricacies of like a police work. Pick up This Is the Police and its sequel. Excellent games. They're like kind of visual novels, kind of management simulators. It's a real unique format that they've got, and they're real good. They are equally supportive and challenging of police, I would say. You know. It really asks those questions like, are all cops bad? And then you're forced in that. It's like a situation where maybe you have to deal with a corrupt cop, but if you deal with him the honorable way, then maybe you yourself will have your like a career at risk. Therefore, perpetuating the whole perpetual motion machine, however you want to call it. But no, it's a game that handles the whole topic with a lot of intricacy and grace, and I would definitely recommend it. I think it, I know it's out for the PC, but I believe it got versions for the Switch as well. The game and its sequel, I think. I should pick those up sometime if they've got hard copies. I like my hard copies, what can I say? Physical gang rise up. Oh, look at this. Making an absolute joke out of this guy now. Still at all 3 lives, you know? It's like, the less I pay attention to the game, the better that I do with it. Once I start trying to dial in, that's when I start overthinking things, and I just let myself get completely played. We are probably gonna match round 30 again, which I don't know. If you think that's neat, then great. You found the neat part of the video. But yeah, when you're talking about NES greatness, this is not the game that comes to mind for anybody, really. Except for that one kid who grew up with Urban Champion and they thought it was the coolest thing ever. But really, it's not. Like, in no way is it the coolest game ever. It has no style. It has no revolutionary bits of gameplay. Like, this game has no identity. Look at this. These are two extremely dull sprites just slugging each other back and forth. It's just it's a very dull game. Uh-oh. You're finally gonna lose a life here? I'm not ready for that. Uh-oh. Maybe it doesn't matter if I'm ready. Maybe it'll happen anyway. Yeah, it'll happen anyway. Oh well. We matched 30. I don't know if we'll beat 30. Maybe this dude will just turn out to be the absolute king of the alley and erase our entire life. But, you know, maybe... Oh, look at that. We got him beating the rhythm. And he's in the manhole. That's another one for the sewers. Now the good old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles will take him into custody. And we will progress to round 31. Look at that, setting new high scores, even though there's no real scoring in this game, you know. It does at least track your round counter, so it gives you something to go on. That's rude of you, man. Switch up your punches every now and then. Keep them on their toes. Round 32. Let's see if we can end this video off on not a game over or something like that. We can just keep going until the timer's up. Wouldn't that be something? And then I'd ask myself, why am I reasonably good at this game and not at a game like Popeye? That would have been more fun to show off the skill ceiling of. Instead, all we showed off was the skill floor. Hey, that's fine, you know. Us both getting knocked back is much better than just me getting knocked back. The cop car is arguably content. You can look at the cop car and you can say that that is a dynamic thing that happens to change the pace of the game. However, it happens to be the worst possible way to stuff a game with content that I've seen. What does it offer the player? Nothing. See? And it comes by very quickly in succession here. Oh, my cat's got his stick and he wants to play. Sorry, kitty, you're gonna have to wait a couple more minutes. Like, again, it just breaks up the action. That's all it does. Excuse me. We might even time out on this one, which, I mean, you know, it would be something we haven't seen yet in this episode. A nice little timeout. Who's keeping time on this anyway? This is not an officially sanctioned match here. Is the plant guy keeping time? No, we don't even get a timeout, turns out. Don't even get anything that interesting to happen. Plant guy, you keeping that stopwatch going? Well, I guess it wouldn't be a stopwatch, it would be a countdown timer. Oh, look at how he dodged that plant. Alright. We're on our last leg here. Can we get through this guy? Can we get to round 34? They say that when you make it to round 34, an urban champion, a leprechaun, comes out and grants you a wish. The only thing you can't wish for is his Lucky Charms. Oh, cat, please don't. Oh, he's sticking claws in me now. He's already had enough of me not paying attention to him. Thank you! The cop car was about to come. The nicest time of all. So yeah, we made a new top score. It's wonderful. And that's good enough to stop it at. Look at that. We got a trophy. We got a golden trophy. But That's just about time. That's close enough to time for me to call it on this game. I don't need to squeeze another few seconds out of this. I've already seen all there is to offer. What do I think about Urban Champion? It's extremely dull. You can play the entire game by holding right and pressing B at a finely timed interval. And there's no progression. You go by fighting the same exact sprite, maybe with mild recolors. I honestly wasn't even paying attention as to if they recolored it or not. The backgrounds are bland. The overall graphics are bland. The style is bland. Everything is bland, and it's not very fun. And compared to Balloon Fight, it is but the polar opposite. It's kind of a downer, honestly. You know, you don't feel better after playing Urban Champion. You just kind of feel like you've wasted your time, which, you know, they can't all be winners. Speaking of they can't all be winners, the next game that we've got, oh yeah, tune in tomorrow for actually our first ever third-party game. Published by Data East, developed by Data East, Tag Team Wrestling. I have a distinct feeling it's not going to be very good. But join me tomorrow where we find out whether I'm right or not. As always, thank you for watching.